Well, hello everybody. It is me, your Civ on Switch man, here for my first video on this new channel. And I really wasn't going to plan on doing this at this point. I wasn't planning on it. But 1.2.5 was just released, and with it will be a bunch of changes that we're going to have to go into, including a new leader. And we'll take care of this upon request. That is what this channel is for, folks. This channel is for my Civilization 7 and possibly in the future 6 playthroughs. For those of you that just want to see someone who has put a lot of time in this game, how I play it, how I can help you play it. It is a very deep, thorough game. And for my maiden voyage, we're going to start by just having a little bit of a tutorial so that you know that I am serious. We're going to go with my guy, Caesar Augusta, because of the fact that he's probably the best leader. And on top of that, because he's the first guy I ever used. So I figure, why not? This is just a tutorial. I'm going to get into new videos soon. Show your support, please, by liking and subscribing to this channel, my other channels that I'll have linked. And folks, please let me know in the comments what leaders you want to see with what civilizations. We're going to go into all of that. But as it starts now, when you have a leader, and as I've said, this is going to be a short video, just a tutorial, nothing spectacular. We're not going to get into games. I'm playing through Himiko. I'm finishing up the Queen of Wa on my gaming channel. I think I'm going to finish that there, and then I'll start posting my Civilization videos here. I may finish with the new characters, including, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but that's who she is, Lakshmibai. I hope I didn't insult anybody. But with any leader, what you want to look at, a couple of important things. First off, their name, obviously. And then secondly, below the name, you'll see Cultural Expansionist. What that means is his expertise, Mr. Augustus, is that he likes developing culture, and he likes expanding, which is settlements, happiness, that kind of thing. If you look then after that, you'll notice that he has a specific set of skills. +1 production in the capital for every town. We're going to get into towns and capitals, and we're going to get into cities and capitals. And you can also purchase culture buildings in towns. That is very important. And plus 50% gold towards purchasing buildings in towns, which means with him, he gets +2 production if you have a capital and you have a lot of towns, like say 5 or 6 towns. That will be +2 production per town, or per town in the capital. So the capital will get, with 6 towns, 12 production. 4 towns, 8 production. We'll go into that as well. And with purchasing culture buildings, they updated that in 1.2.4, which means you can purchase culture buildings and science buildings in what are called the urban districts. We're going to get into all of this, but with him, you could just buy every culture building in towns, so you never lose culture, and it would be 50% cheaper. Now, I'm playing on the Switch too. I could break out the Joy-Cons and do the mouse clicking if you want, but I play on the Switch too, only on the Switch too, the far superior console. I would press the Y button if you're on console. I'm not sure if you're playing on PlayStation. For whatever ungodly reason, it would probably be the square. If you're playing on Xbox for whatever ungodly reason, I think it would be the A button or something. For Switch, it's Y that opens up the sub-menu of mementos. Mementos give you little bits of bonuses based on the leaders that unlock these mementos. So what I do, you don't have to do this. You can go through every one of these, like for instance, +2 cultural wonders. You can go through every one of these. The red is more for military. The gold is more for economic. Blue, like bright blue like this, is diplomatic. Light blue is scientific. Purple is cultural. And green is typically expansionist. What I usually do in the first age is I go with what their strengths are. So he's a cultural expansionist. I will go with a cultural point. And I will go with an expansionist point. That's just so I can get a jump start. We then move to the next screen. That's an A. we get this.
Sed tandem aedificabo marmoriam urbem ubi ante alateres.
That's just what he has to say. And then we go to, if you want, you can start in exploration, you can start modern. I always start in antiquity. You don't have to. That's what I do. And at this point, you choose from any starting civics. We have Aksum, Assyria, Carthage, Egypt, Maya, Malya, Khmer, Han, Greece, Mississippian, Persian, Roma, and Silla at this point. Silla is economic and diplomatic. But I'm going to go with Roma because that is my home country and works perfectly with Mr. Augustus. So we have legionnaires that give you +1 combat strength for every tradition. We'll get into that for a sec. The Roman unique army commander is the legatus, who gives you a charge for a new settlement for every 3 levels. We'll get into that. And we also have the forum, which is a Roman unique quarter. Quarters are 2 buildings built in the same spot. And the Basilica gives you +3 gold and +1 influence, and has adjacencies, and the Temple gives you +3 happiness and culture on adjacencies. And when you put them together, you get culture for every unique tradition in the government. That's +1. We're going to go with Roma. I never use Roma without him. I am going to put it on deity because I'm a lunatic. We have new maps, folks. We have also standard speeds, epic speeds, marathon. This is just how fast. Online is a certain speed. This is just how fast. Excuse me a second. Sorry, my guy likes to leave below. Anyway, the difficulties are, I would start at maybe not scribe, governor. If you have any concept of real-time strategy games, start on governor if you just don't feel comfortable, or viceroy or sovereign. I go right to deity, or you can go custom, and I'm not going to really get into that at this point. Standard speed, as I said, epic, marathon. This is just how fast things happen, how fast you produce buildings, how fast you produce units, so on and so forth. And now we have continents and islands, Pangea and islands, continents plus, continents, archipelago, fractal, shuffle, terra incognito, and Pangea plus. These are all different types of maps that generate as the game progresses. The continents and islands and Pangea and islands, that's brand new. So we'll just go with continents and islands for now. Map size is how many you're going to be up against. You can put on tiny, which is 4, small, which is 6, standard, which is 8. I'll go with standard, which I would anyway. And age transition, you can go continuity or regroup. What that means is continuity, if you get to the next age, you start off with a specific set of whatever you've already had. So your merchants, more or less, your soldiers, more or less, your cities, your towns. With regroup, it's like you start from scratch. I like continuity. So we're good. And you can go further into these things in all these different little sub-tabs and whatever. We're not going to go further. We're going to start up. And folks, this is going to be, as I said, just a tutorial. I am not going to get into the game much. I'm just going to show you the difference between towns, cities. I'm going to show you the difference of the wonders, what adjacencies come from. Things have changed with all of that in 1.2.5. Now, it would make sense for me to go to deity, but that's what the other videos are for.
Augustus Caesar claims his right. You, who never call yourself emperor, are revered by your people as a god. The world is now disorder.
And with the updates, we also get the announcer. She's reading this.
Provide it direction. Set the laurels on your head and
as opposed to just one simple line about the city or whatever, the settlements, the civic that you picked. So if I go like this.
Rome, a name synonymous with power. Legend has it that the first Romans were raised by wolves. Seeing the debates in the Senate, the achingly straight Roman roads, and the well-ordered legions, one might doubt this. Seeing the light of ambition in Roman eyes, one does not. Raise the eagle standard.
So, you get a little bit more of an introduction than you used to.
That is Rome.
And now we're going to get an idea as to how long it takes. If you also look, when you have a specific civilization, you could see their cultural and militaristic. You get one culture on districts in the capital and city centers in towns. So every single settlement for him is +1 culture. And we can produce the Colosseum faster. So what happens is you get into the map. You can see a shiny thing here that we're going to get into in just a sec. What I usually do is on the switch 2 or switch 1, it is the LB button. It's the top left button, first one. You go to yields, just so you can see what you're building on, what you're settling on. You can show the map. You can click that off. If you go here, settlers, the light greenish blue color is where there is fresh water. If you settle on the fresh water, what that means is you will have more happiness on your settlements, and happiness is very important. If you settle in the yellow, you will not have as much happiness. Red, you can't settle on. The reason is because these are resources, and you can't settle on resources. We also have the continent, which is the continental breakdown. Keeping settlements together on one continent keeps them connected easier, which is good for trade. And this, of course, we don't have any trades, so we can't really do anything about that. So we're going to keep the yields on. The resources we can turn off. There's no point to that. You're just going to go on pure site. That makes no sense. The hex grid is just every one of these tiles. I like to keep them on. And the mini map is obviously the mini map. You turn that off. It goes away and then it comes back. Okay? So that's how that works. You don't have to do this. I am going to settle with my founder right on the spot of Roma. That is my new city. And now we are going to produce a scout on one turn, since that is what the game allows. At this point, you also want to go, if you've picked mementos like I have, to your attributes. That's just RB. You put up the window if you're playing on console. You go to leader, which is RB again, and then or R, and then you go to the leader with the A button, go to the attributes. I have a cultural attribute point. Pop! That's the A button and an expansionist. The cultural attribute point gives me +1 culture per age. Expansionist gives me plus 25% towards training settlers. Ba-boom! Now, we move on to the next one. I'm not even going to save because I'm going to just do a few turns. That's it. I'm just going to settle. So now if you look at your resources around you, we're going to open the tech tree. Now this is the tech tree, folks. This is how you evolve your technology. This is how you get soldiers like the legionnaires, boats like the quadriremes, and also you get chariots. You can go all the way up to, well, for us, it would be massive legionnaires who get even more combat strength, and horsemen. So when it says ignores zone of control, what that means is you can just bypass certain barriers and whatever and borders. And after that, if you get through all that, it's future tech. The only way you're going to do that in this game, you see on the bottom there where it says cost 38 or 98 science? What that means is at this point, and I'm just going to go for writing, which is going to be pottery to writing. If you see the tree, it tells you how it all spans. It combines. What that means is if you look to the bottom, I always keep this open. Now I'm going to get a warrior at this point. You don't have to. You can build whatever buildings you want. Oh, by the way, the scout has this little sight thing over here. Hit that, and it opens even more to see. And whenever you get one of these, you see that they'll give you bonuses. They show up when that happens. So you see one here, one there, and one there. But if you look up in the right corner where his banner is, you'll note that... Oh, by the way, this right here, I got to tell you about this. These are the yields. Food and happiness, we don't have any production yet. So we're going to go with the farm here. That's food and happiness. Food will make it quicker for you to populate. Population gives you more room to grow, more tiles to buy and everything like that. The other thing is what I'm producing right now. So if you look, I chose a warrior. Cost 30 production. If you look on the top menu over there, you'll see food, production, gold, science, culture, happiness, and influence. This, I can also rename this. I'm not going to do that. This is how much production this one settlement is giving me. So I'm getting 5 per turn, 7 food per turn. So what that means is if something costs 30 production, 5 production per turn means it's going to take 6 turns. This is a turn-based strategy game. Not so much real time as much as turn-based. The influence is how we can, if we meet a city-state, influence them, start endeavors with other leaders, Culture per turn is obvious. The amount of culture we're getting per turn. Science per turn, how much science per turn we're getting from this. You will get 10 science per turn and 10 culture per turn. Happiness keeps your settlements happy. If they're happy, they produce more, they eat more. They also don't revolt and tear all your buildings down. So you want to make sure they don't revolt and tear all your buildings down. Okay, so I stepped on one of those shinies. We have an option here to take 30 culture and 10 production to Rome or science. We are a cultural type and a productive type. I'm going to go with that, and we're going to keep moving. Now, at the beginning, and here is an independent that if their little bar around their little border is red, that means they are hostile, which means they will send units at you. Now, if you notice, there are different resources, and there is a river there. Rivers give you happiness when you settle near them. So you want rivers. I'm going to build a granary. It is 55 production. I'm producing 5 per turn. Now, if you look here, this is new to the 1.2.5. This shows you what you're going to get in terms of yields if you build there. So we would replace this farm if I build here to get 1 happiness and 1 food per turn, as opposed to what we already have, which is 1 happiness, 1 food. We're going to replace that with, well, actually, no, you see that? Okay, that's new. See, there's a green that tells you that up. That means we're going to still get that 1 food, but we're going to lose happiness because every building costs happiness. So I could produce something here because this, whenever you select a tile, that tile becomes your settlement, which means that you get those yields. So I chose this to be a farm. That gives me the 2 food and the 1 happiness. I chose this to give me a woodcutter. That gives me 1 food and 1 happiness. So these tiles I have not chosen yet are not part of my settlement. They are just there, which gives me an opportunity to build a building like a granary here. And if I build it here, I may not be able to get the production from the woodcutter that I would when I unlock that ability, but I'll get a warehouse that gives me 2 food per turn. So I'm going to do that. This way I didn't lose anything. I'm just gaining. So that now becomes my tile with a building on it. My warrior can go and attack things. My scout cannot. So my scout is helpless. If any of these jackasses come along, and they'll come along, they will attack my scout. I can attack theirs. If the scout finds you, you will be overwhelmed. Okay, so we have Shengle. Shengle's an independent. Now, the way it works, you see that influence I have. I'm getting 10 influence per turn, right? Because the city does not give me any more influence per turn. And Augustus, with my mementos and whatever passives I have, he doesn't give me influence per turn. So we're just going 10 base influence per turn. If I go to Shengle, as you can see, I can't do anything yet because I don't have the influence. I can't win them over. And I don't have any valid targets since I haven't met anybody else, so I can't have them raid those other people. So instead, and I think I figured out how the computer works. Instead, I just gotta wait. Or I can attack them, get rid of them, and depending upon what kind of independent they are, this is a military because it's red. Red military, purple culture, blue science, and I think they've added influence, which would be probably a light blue or something, and expansions, which I think would be a green. And there's also economic, which is gold. The independents have worked differently. But what happens now, and this is just like, that right there was what's called it's kind of like a story. And, well, it said it right there. It's, what you do is you choose sort of like a quest. I chose to build 3 monuments. When you succeed in that quest, you get a benefit. I didn't read the benefit because I'm rushing through too quick. Okay, so now we have the civic tree. Same concept as the tech tree. Same thing. Every single civic has a cultural cost. So if this is going to be 175 culture overall, if I choose discipline, which will give me scout movement in sight, and the opportunity to build the Du Shadakin, which is a wonder, which gives you its own bit of benefits, +1 science and fortifications in the settlement, and +5 combat strength to fortify districts in all settlements. And it also grants me a free legatus and the ability to produce legatus. So since this is a militaristic, we are going to go with that one. Now I can choose my government. You can go with the government that gives you culture and production to wonders for a certain amount of time, 10 turns. The despotism, which gives you more science per turn and more production towards infantry units, 10 turns. Or the oligarchy, which gives you food and constructing buildings. I'm going to go with despotism. And what that is, when you have enough happiness, and I'll show you this right here. When you have enough happiness, you can also pick, these are now your social policies. You can get more production in science on the palace, or you can get more culture on the palace. We're going to go with culture. But if you go here to overview, you see that on the bottom corner, happiness, next celebration, 22 turns left. At this stage, we're getting +7 happiness per turn. In 22 turns, we'll get a new celebration, which means we can add another policy. And we will be able to take advantage of what we just chose as a government. Okay? So if you have any questions, if I'm going too fast or whatever, just let me know. And I will be pleased to answer them in the comments. And as I've said, show your support. Let me know if you want me to get or use any specific characters. I enjoy this game. I don't mind playing it, especially when it doesn't cheat. We just unlocked pottery. So now we get the brickyard, which is a new building, which gives us a base yield of +1 production. And you also get +1 production on clay pits, mines, and quarries, which is what this is. You also get plus food on plantations, which we don't have, and +1 production on clay pits, which we haven't unlocked yet. So, okay, I got another one of these discoveries. I can get production and happiness, which I'm going to go with. You can also get gold. I typically early in the game get production and happiness. Early in the game, that's mandatory, more or less. So now my warrior is going to just keep going around here. My scout seems to be stuck. These are shallows. We cannot uncover our ability to get through that until we go to... where are you? Sailing. With sailing, we can then walk on those shallows. But you can't go in the sea. You also get boats, known as galleys. So now Shingle is producing units. I'm going to try to get as much influence as I can. Now, this is a mine. This is a woodcutter, so we'll have a mine here if we improve that. Woodcutter here if we improve that. We haven't unlocked the technology to get the production out of these. So getting any one of them right now means nothing. I can also go with the cultural spot on this woodcutter. That's flat tundra. If you look, every tile has its own specific concept. We have flat grassland here. That just usually gives you food. I guess grass is tasty. Woodcutters, typically you have to unlock it, but you get production. We also get, production from clay pits, mines, and tundra will give you culture. Gold, that is a resource. That's not a tile. It's a tile, but it's a resource. Gives you gold and makes buildings cheaper typically. Not anymore now. Now it's gold and happiness in all settlements. Used to be that buildings become cheaper. As you can see, the independent is attacking me. But now that the granary is done, we're going to go for the brickyard. And if you look, if I build with the granary, I'll get, because of this adjacency, see how the arrows point? Adjacency from the capital, I would get not just 2 production, but 1 culture and 1 science. We're going to go out here. We're going to build it on this farm. We haven't improved it, so it doesn't make any difference. We're just going to get +2 production, but we're not going to get the 3 food we could have gotten, which is fine. Production's more important anyway. Okay, so now this one gives me either science or gold. We're going to go with science. You go with whatever you want to go with. But as you can see, this is another independent that is going to attack me because the scout found me. Okay? As you can see, we are even matched with the independents as we stand. If your science, your technology goes up higher or faster because of your ability to gain science per turn, you can evolve your units and you will have an advantage. The computer leaders themselves, they have a +8 combat advantage on this level. So be aware of that. However, unlike 6, if you've played 6, and by the way, what I'm doing here is I'm building fortifications. When you do that, this little spiked wall comes up. That gives you defensive bonuses. And then with this, you can heal until fully rested, or you can just sleep and you'll heal anyway. You heal in the capital or in any other settlement 15 health points per turn. Outside, it's about 10. Unless some crisis comes about... We're not going to get into crisis, folks. We're going to just do this real quick. I just want to get a settlement down, and I just want to show you kind of like what a wonder looks like in terms of how it builds. I would like to meet somebody. See, this is a clay pit. Or this set's a mine. But if you notice, too... So the reason why that happened is because this fucking asshole stepped on my tile. We have 200 influence. We're going to use 170 to befriend them. If you look, we have 15 turns before they become passive. So this dick's going to just stand here and be a nuisance. If you're building a wonder or you're building a building of any kind, these assholes standing on it will stop it from happening. Okay, so we unlock discipline. What I usually do is, if you notice here, the discipline mastery. These are masteries. When you see something down here, that's a mastery. You usually get better benefits, like in this one we get honor, which is plus combat strength against independence. That is another policy, and you'll see Gate of All Nations. That is a wonder. You build that, you'll get 2 happiness and +1 war support on all wars. So we're going to do that. We're going to master that. It's going to take a bit of time, even though I have 15 culture per turn, and that is higher than anybody else. And because I finished that civic, I get a legatus, which is my commanding troop. Now, the way it works in this game is you do not get... Okay, let's get some... Well, we'll get gold and happiness and food here. I'll take that. You do not get experience points on units on their own. They need a commanding officer nearby. Commanding officers do not attack. So if you have them, like, defenseless, they are going to take damage and they're going to die. You do not want to lose your commanding officers. They give you many benefits. We'll take happiness for the next celebration, and then we're going to master writing, because what we'll get is a codex. We'll get +1 science on science buildings. We'll be able to steal technological advancements from everybody else, and we'll gain a codex. The way you win is you have an age progress. And what you do is you have your rankings. Each one of these is based on what you're accomplishing at this particular time and place. And with every age comes more rankings, more legacy paths, different ones. They change every time. The military one will be that you have to get a legatus, you have to get a full army, you have to do these things here. They'll show you which ones are important for this specific legacy. But if you look at the big key to this is having 12 settlement or legacy points in military. What that means is every time you found your own settlement, you get a point. Every time you capture somebody else's, you get 2. So you want to found at least 2 or 3 if you're going for this, and you want to capture. That would be 3 points. You want to capture about 5. Or you found 2 and you capture 5 and you'll hit this one. There is a problem. Oh, and by the way, the reason why I'm going with codexes or codices, with culture in this one, we have to build 7 wonders. This has not changed. It's really difficult. I've done it once in all this time I've been playing. Science is the codices. We have to get a library and we have to put those codices in the library or in the universities. Is the universities next? No, it's well, whatever it is. But it's the academies. We have to slot, which means we have to put, I'm planning to do some slots myself, codices in the slots, in the libraries, and in the academies, up to 10 of them. Also, you get 1 in your capital. And the economic one is we need to get resources. Resources come in this, As you can see, we have 0. We have to get up to 20. They're not easy. Oh, by the way, we have a celebration, so let's get more science per turn. They're not easy, and we can slot this for more production in science. They're not easy to get these things, but they are more than worth it. If you get them, your next age will be so much easier. So now I have another storyline. I can go with influence on the palace, +1. I can go with +2, 20 food in Roma, which is a one-shot deal. Or I can go with +10% production towards military units. We'll just do one more influence per turn. It's not a big deal. And we're ready to go. So this guy's going to attack this. The capital or the home base has its own defense that will attack the opposition. If they attack, they'll lose health. If they don't, they won't do anything, obviously. But now I have enough gold that I can go like this. I can go into the capital. By the way, that's you click on the capital, the palace, and if there's a unit there, you hit X as many times as it takes to get you here. So I can produce, but I can also go ping and buy. And this is how much gold it would cost. Brickyard at this point would be 104 gold because I've already been building it. Typically it's 200. And we're going to buy a warrior just to have a defense here. And now with that warrior, I can show you experience points. We're going to settle, and then I'm hoping I can meet somebody because this video has been going on a lot longer than I've wanted to. We're going to settle and we're going to stop. So now if I were to take my... No, wrong button. If I were to take my Legatus and go like this, and take you and go like this, I hit. As you can see, it's going to pop up. Come on. That's how much health I lost. +4 experience points. My commanding officer just got +4 experience points. At a certain point, he gets to level up and we get to give him a benefit. All right, so now I have a settler. I'm going to finish the brickyard. So this guy's going to heal up. And the settler, as you can see, it's best to go near the shorelines at this stage, but there is gold here, so we're going to go here. You don't want to be too close to the capital that it's hard to grow, but you don't want to be too far away because then the roads will not connect. All right. Now, if you press this little button, this is your move. This is what it defaults to. This is how you move. This is promotions. We don't have any promotions yet. As you can see, the experience point total's up there. We need 15 to get to the next level. Every one of these has a different benefit, and when you get down this tree, you have commendation points. Also, this is to skip the turn, which means they don't have to move. They'll just go next turn. This is to build a fortification. This is to add a commander to another commander. I don't usually do that. This is to assemble your army, which means you suck them all up. So if I go like this, every unit has to have another move. As you can see there, it says 1 out of 2. They all have to have another move, otherwise this doesn't work, but we suck them up. And then if we go like that and heal up, they'll all heal. Also, we can kill them off, but I'm not going to kill them off. Okay. So now he's on the building again. I could try to build the Durshalakin, which is a wonder. We can try to build it there. It's going to take 45 turns. We have no production. We need production. This is a bad starting spot. Now that I'm building that, the asshole jumps on that so that I can't build that. This is how this game works. I'm going to deposit these guys. We can also attack at once. Go mysticism next. Finish the brickyard. Is there anybody here? Okay, that's a natural wonder. The Great Barrier Reef. If you find a natural wonder, it's in your best interest to settle by the natural wonder because, as you can see, look at these yields. This one gives you food, science, and happiness per tile. There are some that give you culture and happiness. There are some that give you food and production. Each one is different. So I would definitely want to settle there. Come on, let's meet somebody. Okay, you want to make sure you're in this range. Otherwise, they will not get the experience points. So that's 4. And now we have a promotion. I always go with Assault first. If you look, Assault gives you... you can disembark. You can just release the hounds and they can attack immediately. You don't have to worry about a turn first, then they attack. Okay, these guys are coming hard, even though I've tried to befriend them. If you want, you can go back to Shengal and you can... add support with 100 influence. Boom. make this happen a little faster. Which is kind of what I want because I don't want to deal with these guys. All right. Let's back off. The brickyard is done. So now we get 8 production. Du Shadakin will only take 35 turns, which is still a lot of turns. And we're going to settle here. We get gold. Gold, as I mentioned, does not make things cheaper, but that's a resource. But there are 2 types of resources. If you look at the top, those are the resources that are empire and treasure resources, which means they do not count towards the slotted resources. And because we have a new town, we have an empty resource slot for them. There are buildings that give you more resource slots. Not a big deal. You'll need as many of them as possible because we want 20 resources slotted. Slotted means in those brackets. Yeah, I noticed. Thank you. They'll give you those warnings. You can turn them off. It's not a big deal. But I'm looking for somebody else, and I don't think we're going to find them. But folks, that's pretty much how the game is played. If you have any questions about it, at this point, it's more that they just pillaged that, so they got plus 40 science, which means now I have to rebuild it. With that being said, this is what independents do when they're not friendly. We're going to go to animal husbandry next. And we have somebody coming this way. It's quite all right. Because at this point, folks, I would like to meet somebody else, but I'm going to stop here. Okay? So, as I said, merely a tutorial, nothing major. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this helps you get on track. I will start posting videos that are going to be a lot more informative, but I need some support. I need you guys to show me the love, like, subscribe, and as I said, in the comment sections, please let me know, whom do you want me to play as? What leaders? If you're having a hard time with certain civilizations, you let me know. I will be back with this sooner rather than later. I might record my stream today and post it some other time, but I will see you next time.